Hello, everyone. My name is PapaNeeks, and today let's take a look at Star Trek Online. I'm sure some of you are going, wait, what? So I feel like some explaining is in order. Excuse me. Recently, I discovered this game through somebody else that highly recommended it, as who is much more of a veteran of both this game as well as Star Trek in general than I am. So I should give you guys a little bit of background. When I was growing up, I was never really that into Star Trek. I was into Star Wars, much more so. I would say I've been much more of a Star Wars fan than Star Trek throughout my life. And it wasn't that I disliked Star Trek, I just never really got into it. However, it was always something that I actually did kind of want to get into, but at the same time, when you look at the huge amount of material that there is for this franchise, it's kind of overwhelming when you really start to look at it and go, oh gosh, what do I do? Like, how do I get into this? And you start thinking about getting to it, but it just seems so daunting and overwhelming, and I can totally understand that for others in the same way. That's also how I feel about games like Final Fantasy. The idea of, experiencing all those games to really get into it just feels like one of those kind of overwhelming kind of things, right? So the idea of really getting into it was kind of hesitant for me. However, recently, from what I understand, this game, it's been out for about a decade or so, and it's gone through some very interesting times when it comes to its development and such. However, one of the things that's kind of important in recent times is that the studio that has been kind of running and maintaining this game over the past, few years, Cryptic, was purchased by Gearbox. And let's just say that's kind of a red flag for some people. Basically, I heard if you want to play this game, play it now, before possible bad changes are brought into this game via Gearbox. And what I found out was that a good chunk of this game, a lot of it, is actually accessible for free. This is an MMO, just to be clear, so it is an online game with other players like World of Warcraft and Star Wars: The Old Republic, Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2. However, not every MMO has the same type of subscription method that is usually the case. Like Guild Wars 2 was kind of known for the initial purchase, but then there was no sub required. Whereas, of course, WoW is rather infamous for its subscription method, as well as some other MMOs, which is, of course, the whole $15 per month or such, or larger plans and such. And if you don't subscribe, quite a bit of content is cut out for you, like inaccessible. You cannot access that content. What I found out is that this game is rather interesting in the fact that a lot of it is accessible for free. You don't have to sub, you don't have to make purchases. There is a store, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But what's interesting is that there is a different type of method for how this game encourages, or rather offers you different options in that regard. And through my gameplay of this, what I have come to and really like and enjoy, for one thing, is not necessarily the ground battles. They're okay, but the thing that I've been really enjoying is the ship battles. Of course, with Star Trek, you would expect some awesome, spaceships and such, which is like one of those hallmarks of the show. Obviously, the Enterprise and other various ships from the series. There is a ton of ships that you can acquire in this game and use for gameplay. And honestly, I can't think of a game that has more fun or better spaceship combat that I've experienced personally than this game. There may be others that I'm sure some others would offer and say, I think this is better than what this game offers, and that's fine. I'm just talking about from my own personal experience that there isn't a game that has had spaceship combat and gameplay that I've enjoyed more than what this game offers. And the fact that it allows you to be able to do as a ton of like customization and various different changes and such, and I'll show that in more detail in a bit here, is just kind of like impressive to me. Now, unfortunately, it is tied to a store that kind of prevents you from being able to fully experience that, especially if you're just going to play this for free and not spend a penny on it. It is worth noting, of course, it's multi-platform. You can play this on PC, you can play this on PlayStation, Xbox, and you can download for free and just play it right from the get-go for free. You don't have to do any kind of payment thing to experience a lot of what the game has to offer. So that is worth noting. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of my characters here. If you're curious about like what kind of factions and such, you'll see here there are 6 factions that you can actually go ahead and play as. You can play the regular Starfleet for current times, which this game apparently takes place in futuristic times past a lot of the shows and movies in 2409. You can join the Klingon Defense Force, its own separate faction, because apparently during this time period, Starfleet and the Klingon Defense Force are at war with each other. So basically, it's kind of like the forced, faction conflict thing that they did with the Horde and the Alliance and such. Although maybe you could kind of compare it to the Republic and the Empire in Star Wars, but yeah, let's just say that sometimes, some of this is like, it feels a little forced, but at the same time, it also kind of makes sense, but yeah. You've got Discovery Starfleet, a different, time period, of course, but that's not the only one here. If you want to, if you're into Discovery, there's this extra, expansion character you can make, Dominion. This is basically a hero class, in the same way that the Demon Hunter and the Death Knight were a hero class for World of Warcraft, because if you try and create one, it'll even say, well, it doesn't say now, but if you make one, it'll say, warning, this is for advanced players. This will start you at a higher level. It's recommended you play other characters before you make this one. So it gives you that heads up, because I believe the level cap in this game is 65, and it starts you at level 60. So that is worth noting. If you want to play a captain from the original series, you can do that, the TOS Starfleet, with, of course, the classic uniforms and such. Or you could play a Romulan, which is a expansion type of character that they had with, from what I understand, this expansion, this character faction that you could make, brought some interesting, story and cutscene elements that were kind of absent in the early part of these factions. And then Cryptic went back and redid the intros for these factions because they felt like they had to make them on par with what they brought here with the Romulan Republic intro. Which I think is really cool that they were looking back at the older content going, we have to go back and redo that and improve it. And if you want to see what it was like back then, there are videos of people who have put it up on YouTube of what the intros for those factions were like back then. Whereas now, if you look at how they are done now in comparison, you can tell that they are quite improved in the story and cutscene department, which is pretty nice. So, what I love about this intro is, or rather this character screen here, is that it lets you see, of course, your captain for your faction. You'll get to see where they're currently located, along with a fleet is basically a guild in this game, and it let certain factions such as the Jem'Hadar or the Jem'Dar and the Romulan can choose which faction to side with, which is either, of course, the Federation or the Klingons. And it'll let you see who is stationed with you in terms of your ground party. Like, you can say, I want these 4 particular individuals to come with me on the ground when we beam down. And it'll show you whatever your current ship is, which, if you're looking, that's a dreadnought carrier. This is a ship that comes along with being able to make this particular character. And the reason that I want to go ahead and make this and level it was because if you level the ship, because you can level ships like their mastery, and if you level it to level 6, you actually have it unlocked for your account, meaning basically any character on your account can then be able to access that ship, which is pretty awesome, especially if you want a carrier that has ships that fly alongside you and then will attack enemies for you. It's pretty great. I love, and they're called pets, so basically if you like pet classes and you want to a ship that has a hangar with extra ships that fly along and just kind of like destroy everything around you, that's pretty great. But if you swap to a different character, like to my Klingon here, you'll see my Klingon here with my current station here, along with a Gorn, a modern-looking Gorn, and whatever ship I am currently flying at the moment. This is my Romulan, which I've already leveled to level 65 because I really enjoyed the story content for the Romulans. Plus, I love the Warbird designs. I think those are really cool. That's also a tier 6 ship, in case you're wondering, because, well, let's just say that there are certain rewards that you can unlock if you do, in fact, go ahead and become a sub for this game, which is that the game will acknowledge you as a sub and will give you a tier 6 ship unlocked for that reward for being subbed for that many days. And I'll talk about that in a bit more when we actually log in here. But this is my TOS captain here. Basically, I try to model after Captain Kirk. And what's awesome is that you can actually add a pack that gives you the TOS crew on your ship. So I can have the original crew. As you can see here, I have Mr. Spock, I have Bones, I have Mr. Sulu, and I have Scotty. I also have Janice Rand and Uhura. By the way, at the time of this recording, Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura on Star Trek, just recently passed away. Very sad. May she rest in peace. But she's not part of the ground crew because, of course, she has to be on the ship to help do communications with us. So we can call her and be like, we need to be beamed back up. So, but yeah, it's just really cool that you can be able to do that. This is my regular Starfleet. He's a Vulcan. I was like, okay. What I also found out is that certain races do have certain bonuses. The problem is that it doesn't tell you what they are. I had to discover that on my own, just kind of randomly. And this is my Discovery captain. He's only level 10. I'm not sure how much more I'll actually do with him. I know I named him after Riker. I don't care that Riker was in Discovery. I was just like, okay, I want to make someone after Riker. I like Riker. I like Jonathan Frakes. What do you want from me? So anyways, let's go ahead, and I'll go ahead and let's get into my TOS. So, to help with my own personal knowledge of this, and the loading screen here you can see is different based on whatever your faction is. So you log in, you get little things about whatever's going on. You can get a little notice if you're part of a fleet, which I currently am because I was invited in. Because of course, in a place like this, you'll see spam invites for various different fleets saying, hey, come join our fleet. Because, of course, various, if you've ever played an MMO like WoW, you'll see people spamming for their guild, basically advertising their guild, asking if you want to join their guild. And the same thing happens there. You can also see here in the Earth space dock, which is basically one of the main hubs, especially for this faction, where a lot of players will come and hang out, either here in the space dock or in their ships and out there, and I'll show you that in a bit. But just to kind of go ahead and show you guys here, you can see that I've got, Mr. Sulu, Leonard, Bones, Mr. Dr. McCoy, Scotty, Spock. You'll notice that they say holograms because, of course, they're, passed on at this point. There's Janice Rand, and there's Uhura. There's Chekhov. I'm currently watching season 1. I'm almost done season 1, and Chekhov hasn't even made it yet. So that is a Borg, believe it or not. I've actually made it where she looks a bit more human to fit in. Kind of like the idea of, what if he found a liberated Borg to join his crew, and he didn't want people to get, freaked out, so he had her look a little bit more human, even though she is still Borg. But yeah, you can be able to, there's a ton of customization when it comes to what you can do with customizing your character here. You can do a ton of various different things, lots of different stats that are involved in here. From what I've heard, there's a lot when it comes to how you can build your character, but especially your ship. And this is one of the big things for me here is the stuff with the ships. All these different little parts here, different kinds of weapons, deflector shields, your different weapons for the aft, devices you can use in combat, your consoles, and of course this progress bar for this tier 6 ship. So in case you're wondering, this is where you go to acquire those. But before we get to that, let me go ahead and show you guys this. This is the store that involves real money. This currency is called Zen. In order to acquire Zen, you need to spend real money or do other things that I guess can earn you that. But if you're curious, this is basically, let me go ahead and show you guys. what it is. So if you look here, 1,000 Zen costs $10, and so on and so forth. And that's basically one of the big problems here when it comes to this, is that a lot of things here, unfortunately, are locked behind this store, which, if you want to get access to a number of really cool things, you of course have to have Zen. But if you're going to be playing this game for free, you're basically going to be completely out of luck when it comes to those kinds of things. So this is definitely a drawback. So if you're wondering about that 7-day sub thing, so I mentioned how this game doesn't have the normal type of sub method. It's important to note that there's basically, from what I could tell, there's 2 different methods to play this game. One, you can either play for free, and you can have access, just to go ahead and reiterate to you guys. So the way this works is that there, of course, are going to be events here, which it looks like there is an event going on here. I'll have to go ahead and take advantage of that in case I want to try and get access to one of these kinds of rewards. So I'll have to go in and do dailies. There was a summer event going on for this special Tier 6 ship, which it looks like a saucer, but then can flip and look like a jellyfish. It's kind of interesting, but I'm just like, ugh. Looks a little odd, but you can see that it only captain's level 50, so I'll have to log into one of my other high-level captains to take advantage of this event. And it's account-wide. You don't have to do it every event thing on a specific captain. You could just simply do it on any of those captains, and then you can be able to have it be an account-wide progress when it comes to these things here to get these rewards. But the way this works is that they basically treat it as if it's another show, because you'll have it labeled as episodes, because each of these are basically different seasons that you get to experience. Like, you can replay these. So you can replay these as many times as you want, however often you want, and these are various different seasons involving various different storylines, and it treats them like episodes. Like, once you start it, it's like the beginning of an episode. Once you finish it, it's like the end of an episode. It very much feels as if you're playing a new season of the show. In fact, I believe this is currently the current storyline that's going on that's still in progress, that's not actually finished, is going to be done. This was the intro of the TOS captain called Agents of Yesterday, where we were back in the 23rd century. And, you get to have some fun stuff. Like right here, we get to actually encounter the Gorn, just like in the classic episode from the original series where Kirk fought the Gorn. And then, if you're wondering, well, how do you end up here? Well, basically, spoilers, you encounter somebody who's a temporal agent, because, of course, time travel is very much a thing in Star Trek. And you're in a situation where your ship gets destroyed, but the temporal agent brings you and your crew to the future to save your lives and bring you up to date. So that way that's the way to get your TOS character to then access the modern timeline content here. So that's basically how that works. This lets you know all the different things that are available to you to go ahead and do if you want to go ahead and do those, what your progress stuff currently is. Accolades basically seem like achievements, but from what I can tell, I don't know what these actually give me. Like, if I get an accolade, it's like, okay, what does that give me? Do I care about these accolades? So, like, it looks like some of these things, like, can actually unlock you, like, certain titles and such, but it's not very clear what exactly you get for, say, accomplishing some of these accolades. Like, if I get this accolade, what does it give me? It doesn't seem to give me anything. So it doesn't seem very clear on what exactly accolades do. Like, there are some things it feels like the game is not very clear on when it comes to what exactly it does or how you can get it or why I should want to care about getting these things. Fortunately, I've heard there is a really, really well done wiki page for this game that contains a lot of really good, helpful information. So basically, the recommended thing is to, if you're going to try this, and if you have questions about certain things, about where to get them, why they are something you should care about, it's recommended to go to the wiki page and look up what the community says about that. So that's certainly something. So let me go ahead and also show you guys, because also, in case you're wondering, this is let you be able to see, this is basically the map of the shipyard that you're currently at, but then this is the map of the galaxy. which is basically separated into quadrants, which, I guess if you watch the shows that and the movies and such, that makes sense, where you can see certain places are located in certain sectors, quadrants, the way it breaks down. That's Konos, the homeworld of the Klingons, and then over here you'll see the Earth space dock along with the planet Vulcan. In the Vulcan sector, you'll see the different sectors are located here. This is more Romulan space. That's where New Romulus is. We move over to the... What is this, the Gamma Quadrant? Or no, the Alpha Quadrant. Where Deep Space Nine is, and various different things like that. So that's something that you are interested in. Now let me go ahead and show you guys what it's like on the ship. So you can do beam up, and of course the TOS uses the classic communicator. Love that. It's, each captain will have their own unique thing based on what their faction is. I still love that the loading screen here is unique. The only thing is that the other loading screens will show you the progress in terms of how it's loading. Like the numbers will be on the sides over here, showing you like it's 98% done loading. Whereas here on TOS, it doesn't show that. So I will show you guys a bit more about the ships in just a moment. But now you can see here we're at Earth Space Dock. This is the current ship that I'm flying. This is a Tier 6 ship that is awarded to long-time subs, which you can access early on. Like you can access this at level 10, I think. Whereas some other ships you have to wait until you level to get access to. Like that right there. You see that? That's the cruiser that Picard had in The Next Generation. But you can't access getting that ship until you reach, I think, level 30. And then you can go to the dock, and they will, basically when you reach a level, because you'll see here, each level awards you with various different things. So, like, once you reach level 30, you see it shows that you then get awarded a new ship, along with a new trait slot, and permission to get a next rank of ships. So, you're awarded a new ship at level 30, which is, if you're leveling legit, as on a free account, you then can choose one of 3 different ships that are an upgrade to what you currently have. So basically, if I was piloting, and I could probably show you this if I go back down to the dock, there's that ship I was talking about that you can unlock in the summer event. See how huge that is? Now, my ship is not that small. It's actually, like, supposed to be a decent size cruiser. But compared to that sucker... that gigantic thing there, mine looks like a pipsqueak. In fact, mine may not even be as big as the Picard cruiser. Let's head on over and just kind of get a real close look. Close comparison, as you can see here. It's almost about the same size. Just about. Remember, that's the size. That's basically the exact same Enterprise ship that Picard was the captain of in The Next Generation. Mine is a little similar, just in size, but as I was saying, there are some other ships that are just gigantic in this. Like that sucker down there, that looks like a carrier. So let's head on back down. I'll have to fly back over here. You can see the different abilities and such that you get based on who your crew is at their stations for who you want to help you out during space battles. So I mentioned how, there's a lot of really cool things. One of the things, I should comment on this though. There is at least one thing I know that you can unlock without having to purchase it with currency, and that is this right here. Cross-faction flying, showing you that you can fly Federation ships on the Klingons and Klingon ships on the Federation. You can do that by leveling a Klingon captain to level 65. Which, sounds like, I have to level a character to max. But at the same time, it's a free unlock. Which is fine to be able to be like, oh, okay, so I was able to unlock this thing for free by just playing the game as opposed to, having to purchase it with real money. This is that Dreadnought cruise I was talking about that I unlocked for my account. You can see it's free. It says available, and you can actually go ahead and claim it if it's a character that does not have that. So this is over here is where you can manage your ships in terms of what you want to name them, what their upgrades can be. You can name them different things. This is the dry dock where you can go ahead and kind of put the ships that you have. I have Picard's Enterprise. I have the Enterprise from the original series. It's a cruiser, and I just have it kind of dry docked here because I'm not using that. But once you get those ships, you can just kind of dry dock that and keep it there if you don't want to go ahead and have it be your current ship. There is that Dreadnought cruiser that I was telling you about. It's right there in case I want to use it. You can have a little shuttle, just like this is very much from the original series, those old shuttles from back then. And yeah, so that's where you can manage your ships. In terms of acquiring new ships, you can go over here and you can see all the different ships that are available here to acquire, and there is a lot. Now you can be able to change the filters in terms of what you've purchased, not purchased. Look at the category of different ships here. Lots of different categories. So if you go to all ranks, look at the amount of ships that are here. And of course, there it is. There's the classic Enterprise cruiser from the original series. Or actually, is this one? No, I take it back. That's a different one. This is the one right here. You can tell because in the description it says that one of these ships was the legendary USS Enterprise, which was commanded by James T. Kirk. So you can see it's basically the exact same ship from the original series, even though that right there looks like how it was in the original series. But let's not get nitpicky, all nitpicky here, shall we? So it will start off with lower level ranked ships. So that's a ship you can acquire when you get to level 20, I think, or level 10. And then, of course, you can get the Picard one at level 30. So then you can get to some really high level ships here. Let's go to Tier 6, which is basically the big ones that you can level to get these traits that can be really helpful and strong. This big cruiser right here. Various different large, huge ships here, which can have some really powerful, awesome abilities when it comes to things like Desperate Repairs, a really strong ability. Another big science vessel, a huge warbird. Like I said, there's a lot of ships here. Really cool looking ships, really powerful, strong ships that you can level and be able to actually acquire the different traits. If you can acquire these ships and level them, you can be able to equip various different traits onto whatever your current ship that you're using. So it actually encourages you to not only acquire these ships, but then to also level them so you can get the traits and add them just to make yourself even stronger. Like I said, there's a lot of customization and builds when it comes to this, when you really delve into the gameplay and how interesting, deep, and complex it is. It's quite the rabbit hole. It really is. And there's some other, like I said, there's some other huge ships here that you can be able to get. Some of them can look a little silly, but some of them can look just awesome. And like I said, when you, like, sometimes you're like, oh, my ship looks pretty big. And then all of a sudden, a gigantic thing like this warship here, all of a sudden comes by, and you're just like, holy mackerel, that thing is huge, and mine looks tiny in comparison. This is one of those kind of, like, big Tier 6 ships that you can get for the Klingons, I believe. Like, you can only look at, if you're on a Federation character, you can only look at Federation ships until you're able to get the cross-faction flying thing unlocked, in which case you can then look at basically every ship for every faction. So, yeah, it's a lot, but it's fun. Like, the space combat with the various different enemies and such, like I said, where you can basically go to here and you can basically do what's essentially a queue for an instance for a space battle against various different types of enemies, including the Borg. Yes, of course. Various different patrols, PvP as well. You know, there's a lot of different things here. So this is something that I came across and discovered. So I should go ahead and let you guys know about what I was talking about, which is in terms of, now I don't think I can actually show it right here. But basically, the other method than free, I should go ahead and, from what I could tell, there is no monthly subscription. That's not how this works. You can either play this game for free, or you can become what is called a lifetime sub. So what that is it's a one-time purchase. That's it. A one-time purchase, you get a lot of rewards, a lot of things unlocked, and you get currency, that Zen currency, you get 500 Zen every month. For free. Just for this one-time purchase. Here's the drawback. It's a big purchase. It's $200. It's a $200 purchase. But again, it's a one-time purchase. So if you are planning on playing this game a lot, it might be worth considering investing, knowing that you will get a lot of stuff unlocked and you will get free currency every month to spend on other things that you can unlock in the game, including more ships. Just to go ahead, it's not just ships that you can be able to use this currency on. If you want to acquire other personnel for your crew, such as a Borg bridge officer, you can do that. You can get various different pets. You can unlock various different playable things, such as that's a bridge officer. Let me show something else here. Okay, so you can unlock extra playable characters. So if you want to play a Kaishan on the Federation, you can do that. A Kardashian, if you want to go ahead and play that. I hope I pronounced that right. If you want to play a Fursan on the Klingons, you can do that. If you want to play a Klingon on the Federation, like Worf in TNG, you can go ahead and do that for 600 Zen. So, or a Riemann for the Romulans, you can go ahead and unlock that as well. So there are various different things that you can unlock with this. If you're wanting to get this currency, like I said, 500 for free every month, just for existing, after you make that purchase. I'm not obviously entirely encouraging it, because obviously it's a big thing, but there is something a little appealing about the idea of that it's just a one-time purchase and then that's it. And then you don't have to pay for anything else at all. You don't have to spend another penny on this game, and you get free stuff every month. Like I said, I'm not entirely encouraging it, but I would say it's worth considering if you want to go ahead and do that, but only really if you're actually wanting to really get into playing this game. And if you're a fan of Star Trek, I highly recommend this, because there's a lot of good stuff here. In fact, if you are, you're probably already a player of this game. If you're not into Star Trek, you may not enjoy it as much. Now, I'm working on that personally because, like I said, I've actually started getting into Star Trek. I'm actually watching the original series. I'm almost done with season 1, and then I'm going to keep going and work my way forward to other material, including the other shows and movies and such, just so I can become more knowledgeable about what's going on here, about what these different races and their stories and all those different things. Just saying, just so I can be able to actually know more things that are going on here. And like I said here, there's personnel promotions that you can get here. This is what I was talking about here. If you want the original series crew, here you go. And it's just so sad to look at this and know that most of the people in this image are gone. Rand is gone, Scotty is gone, Spock is gone, Bones is gone, and now Uhura is gone. Chekhov, Sulu, and Kirk are the only members of the original series that are still with us. And that's such a shame. That's so sad. And who knows how much longer that they have, because they're up there in age, so they may go have, any time now as well. Hopefully that won't be anytime soon, but you never know. So, anyways, that's Star Trek Online, and I highly recommend giving it a look, especially since a lot of it can be played for free. So it may as well be worth checking out if you're curious about how it works, how it functions. See if you enjoy it. And I will see you guys next time.